Hello, Death Metal Promotion. I'm David, the vocalist of Resurge, and I'm here to answer some questions. Resurge is a death metal band from Portugal, formed in 2020. We play an old school style of death metal, inspired in bands like Death, Pestilence, Morbid Angel, and such. The story behind the band name is about a reunion of friends that decided to form a new band. Uh, these were all friends that were in a different band in the past. The name of the band was Underneath. I was not part of that band. I got in the band later. Um, so in 2020 they decided to form this new band and to research this friendship and decide to start a new project. So that's why the research came into play, and the name was available. So that was their choice. Uh, in the beginning, the band had another vocalist. Uh, Eventually, he got out of the band just after releasing the first single back in 2020, and then I was called up, and the rest is history. Research from Underneath um, is basically a compilation of all the songs written by Research since the beginning. Some of the songs were, well, the basic part of the songs, the main structure was written all the way since 2020, 2021, around that time. And they didn't uh, make it to the EP that came out in 2021, in the end of 2021. Uh, so we decided to save the songs and finish them properly in the album. So the creative process, it all starts in the guitarist Luis. He creates the foundation of the songs. He creates the foundations of the songs, the foundations of the riffs, and from there on, he shows it to us, and each of us implements our own elements to it to form the song. But uh, each one brings their own influences, but everyone has the similar taste for death metal. So that's why. On this release, the themes explored were corruption, corruption of the mind, corruption of the goodwill, and basically the corruption of people as they grow and as they suffer in their own skin uh, the consequences and the harsh reality that 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 is life. Okay, so it's basically a process from the birth of a character inside a I'd say it's a fictional world inspired in the real world, but it's very much more morbid, I'd say. And so we describe the journey of the character and its corruption and the way. So the themes are, as I said, corruption, but also growing up and facing all the real problems of the world. All right, but all told in a hyperbolic way. So the album art is a representation of this world. It's an underworld, so that's why it's in a cave. Hence the name also Resurge from Underneath, because the evil is resurging from underneath. All right, but that's also a metaphor that it comes from the underneath. So beneath ourselves, it's down here. The evil is down here, and it resurges in us as we experience life. So, as you can see in the artwork, there's some little pods, incubators, um, and that's where people are bred. They are born in those incubators, and they are pure in the beginning. And it relates back to the EP cover. And when they come out, they have to deal with this harsh world, harsh reality. That is that hellish world that you see in the cover. And those kind of demons, that's people. That's people that have been corrupted already. That's the representation. And that doorway, that's the doorway into darkness. That's the mystery. All right. So, and the way it connects to the music, you feel all those muddy riffs. You see that river, all right, and the voice, the growls, those raspy growls filled with despair. They correlate with feeling despair in that world. So that muddy, that murky environment in the album cover represents how the band sounds, and also the feeling that you get inside that world represents the feelings that the vocals try to represent. Well, our collaboration with Miasma Records was, I'd say, a natural progression. And not only we're signed with Miasma Records, but we're also signed with Vomit Your Shirt. Both the labels are from our friends. So our friend Marco at Miasma Records has been a good friend of ours since before the band. So it was only natural that we would work with him. Same goes to Mikael from Vomit Your Shirt. Both have been long-term friends, and when we came up to them with this project, they immediately accepted, and it was easy as that. All right. So when working with people that you know and that you trust, everything just comes easy and natural. So that's basically it. Well, in my point of view, securing a label deal can be essential, but depends on what kind of label and what kind of deal we're talking about. Because most of the work nowadays can be done by yourself. That's true. But what labels can help you with is help you investing in merchandise and CDs, which is a really big help. But that's why I said it depends on the deal. Also, depending on the label, if you sign with a label that has good contacts and that does good promotion, that's something you have to investigate before signing with a label. That can make the process of promoting your music a lot easier, because a label can be a more trustworthy brand for promoters, instead of just one band trying to promote themselves, as thousands do, and promoters receive thousands of emails from bands. But if promoters receive an email from a label that they trust, that can be an easier way into promotions, into festivals. So yes, securing a record, a label deal can be essential, but depends on the deal. All right, you don't really you don't need to rush to have a record label if it doesn't bring you all these things. If the record label doesn't guarantee you a better promotion than you yourself can do, if the record label doesn't guarantee you a help with costs of producing merch and stuff like that. If they don't guarantee you all those things, and you can do them by yourself, not worth, because you're gonna be having to split uh, your earnings uh, with another entity. So if you can do good promotion by yourself, and you have the money to invest in merchandise and all that stuff, and you have the time to dedicate yourself to all this stuff, that there is promotions and contacts and everything, all right, do it yourself. No need to split with a label. But if you feel like you need that extra help, and financially you also need help, yes, securing a record label deal can help you a lot. That's my opinion. Everyone is free to have their own. But from what I've learned through the years I've been in the music industry, uh, this this is my opinion. Well, I'm the youngest member of the band, so what drew me into death metal might have been slightly different from the other members. I have basically half the age of the other members, but I can speak for myself. What drew me into death metal was, I don't know, the riffs have always been one of the main things. It's just, I don't know. It's not easy to explain. They just feel right. Okay, they just feel right, and the vocals feeling so raw, so primal, and so different. Like, it's not. I won't say different, but every vocalist has their own character. Where I feel like sometimes with some other bands, I don't feel that kind of personality. And in death metal, as being a vocalist myself, I feel like uh, it's a bit more raw in that way. Depends on the death metal. I'm referring to old school death metal. But overall, death metal, I think it's the perfect mix between being extreme and being catchy and sounding awesome. Because you can go too extreme to the point where it kind of gets messy, and if you enjoy that, that's okay. But it can get a bit confusing. But you can go too soft, and it becomes kind of boring, at least for me. So death metal, I think, is the perfect mix. Well, changing something about the music industry. Well, that's very complex. That's very complex. But I'd say streaming services paying more, paying better. That would be that would be cool, but it's difficult with so many projects coming up and having to pay everyone. But uh, I'd say what I'd change would be if people were more honest. But that's not just about the music industry. I think that's about everything in general. Because being more straight to the point and, and honest, uh, I think would make everything easier for everyone. It would avoid many misunderstandings and many wastes of time. I that's one thing I hate, is wasting time. So I try to be as straight to the point as I can. Um, and I wouldn't say, like many. I know I'm young. I wouldn't say things should be the way they were in the past. There's some things I don't like as much, but there's some also a lot of good things nowadays that make life so much easier for musicians. So what I say is, yeah. So things require a natural evolution, so things the way they are with technology and everything, it's fine. But the main problem for me is being is not being honest and straight to the point. All right, so that's basically it. Well, unforgettable fails during live performances. Well, the most unforgettable one wasn't was I'd say a time where we were supposed to play a gig, open air, in June, and it was June in it was summer in Portugal, so usually it's sunny and hot, and it was like till like uh, till like 3 p.m. It was really sunny, really hot, and the festival was gonna start early. We were on the venue. We were doing some sound checks and stuff because we were the local band. Uh, and then when we ended the sound check, it started raining, but not just any rain. Just it was like pouring rain, like aggressive rain, and it rained like that for over an hour, and all the sound gear got wet. And the sound guys were like, "No, we can't do this. Uh, we have to cancel the festival." So the festival was canceled, but at the moment they made the decision to cancel, uh, there were like already almost 200 people there, and a lot of bands had already arrived, and they said like, "All right, the festival is canceled. Uh, so this is all leading up. It's not a live performance, but it leads up to a live performance. It is not exactly a fail, but it was a mix of things. So people stayed there drinking because they said like the, the shows will not happen, but you can stay here drinking and we'll make a discount and everything. So people stayed drinking, and after a few drinks, the band guys were like, "Oh fuck it, let's bring the gear and let's play a show here in the middle of the ground." And it happened, and Resurge opened up, and while we were playing, like in the middle of the ground, like in a very sloppy setup, I'd say, um, a guy moshing in front of me just smacked his head onto the other guy and broke a few teeth, and just looked at me with his mouth bleeding. It was like, "I lost my teeth," and we stopped everything. "Oh guys, stop, stop, stop!" And we were looking for his teeth. Yeah, so and then he found them and he was smiling, all happy and everything. In the show went on. So, but yeah, I wouldn't say like, yeah. So it was a mix of things that happened that made it so funny, but it's kind of a fail. All right, so that is the most unforgettable thing that happened. Well, recent albums that really impressed me. So, firstly, internationally, the albums that impressed me the most recently were Skullpole Remains' new album and Gatekeeper's new album, released in 2024, both of them. Awesome, awesome work. Just, I listened to those albums so many times by now. It's just amazing. And speaking about like national bands from Portugal, the new album of Dark Oath, the band of my T-shirt, is amazing. It's more of a symphonic death metal, melodic symphonic death metal, I'd say. Uh, it's a bit different, but it's very well done and really epic and awesome and very extreme at the same time. It's amazing, and it has a female vocalist that does an amazing job with her vocals. Also, another Portuguese band that just released an album very recently was Garia. They have their own unique style of black metal, and they've been touring the world like crazy. And they just released a new album, and it's it's amazing. I've listened to it a few times, and it's another unique uh, album. Just yeah, really good album. If you like black metal, but with a kind of modern twist, that's that's the thing you should listen. I cannot really put it a label because it's a very unique song to them, so you should check it out. Well, in terms of films, I haven't really been watching films lately. I had a time where I used to watch a lot of films, but in the last couple of years, I've been kind of off the film industry. So I can really say I have a film that impressed me. Well, the current death metal scene in Portugal has been getting slightly better these last few years. We and a few more bands uh, are part of this new wave. Uh, Resurge, Tumlu, Phenochrist, and a few other bands have been bringing back good old death metal into the Portuguese underground. There are more bands, but I don't remember all of them. These are besides Research, these two are, I'd say, the bands that have been upcoming and releasing new stuff. All of us released albums in 2024, so you should check them out. Awesome stuff. So the scene in Portugal, basically, yeah, it's been getting better. Oh, there's another band I just remembered, Nihility. Even though they haven't released anything in the last couple of years, uh, they play an amazing aggressive death metal. It's a bit more modern, but really good, really good sound, really good aggression and groove. It's yeah, they're one of my favorite bands in terms of death metal in Portugal. So yeah, awesome guys and awesome friends too. And I skipped the question. My thoughts on the future of death metal. I've been feeling that death metal has been getting a revival, especially old school death metal in the last few years. I think death metal will never be a big um, mainstream genre, or at least mainstream amongst metalheads. I think it will never get to that status. It will always be a more extreme sound, and it will make some people not like it. But but yeah, that death metal has been going in waves, and I think right now the future is is basic. I think the future is a natural increase because of all these bands that have been coming up, and I think it will never fade out because death metal just gives you so much room to experiment, and I think it will be like it has been now. It's been experiencing a new wave of old school stuff, and also always modern bands showing up, but a lot of bands bringing back the old sound, and it just works. I think that's gonna be the future of it. Keeping it's gonna keep growing, and then it might fade out a bit, but it will keep going in cycles like this. Ooh, my all-time favorite death metal album. That's difficult. That's not easy. I cannot really give you one album. There's so many albums with good stuff. Hmm, that's a tricky question. It's a I cannot give you one album, but I can name a few that really influenced me, and it's Pestilence, Testimonial of the Ancients, um, Obituary, Cause of Death, um, Death, Spiritual Healing, modern stuff that has really become my favorites have been the last album of Sculptor Remains and also the last album of Gatecreeper. Yeah, these five are really up there in my list. There might be other ones that I just don't remember right now, but these are the five that come up to my mind first. Well, favorite death metal album cover. Another tricky question, but I'd say any cover made by Dan Seagrave from yeah, any cover made by Dan Seagrave can be up there in my top three easily, but I cannot give you one because I always have like things I like about and things that I don't like about artworks and stuff. So I don't. Yeah, this is something I can't really give one for me that is my favorite. But yeah, my favorite artist that I can say is Dan Seagrave for sure. There's a really good one, another artist that's really amazing that is not as famous as Dan. It's Juanjo Castellano. Uh, it's a Spanish artist. He does awesome artworks too. You should check him out. The plans for Resurge's future are basically write new material and work on playing outside of Portugal. That's our main focus. So we are working at the moment on a new album, even though Resurge from Underneath just came out last year, not even a year ago, but we are already working on new stuff, and we plan on releasing in 2026. So stay tuned. And we are also working on getting gigs in Europe, and eventually, if we can do a Europe tour, yeah, those are our plans for the future. Well, my message for Death Metal Promotion subscribers is to support your local bands. First place, that thing. Second, listen to Resurge from Underneath, our new album, or just listen to our music in general. Go check us out on social media and on the streaming services and YouTube and everything. And just enjoy death metal. Well, and that's it. Thank you so much for listening to this interview. I am David Bento, vocalist of Resurge, and it was a pleasure speaking with you. And see you next time.